Courage is the willingness to try again. When you think of courage, you probably think of fierce warriors or men dressed in battle uniform. Perhaps you envision a woman battling disease or someone fighting a good fight on behalf of another. However, courage comes in many different shapes and forms. Sometimes courage is getting knocked down, but getting back up each and every time. Courage is the willingness to try again. Courage in failing. If you have always wanted to try something or have had a lifelong dream you now wish to follow, you have to start somewhere. That somewhere is a place called courage. If you do not try, then you are guaranteed to fail. However, if you do try, then know that there is a possibility that you may very well succeed. However, you have to change your view. Courage is taking a step and willing to not succeed, but trying again anyhow. If you fail the first time, it is not an ending, it is just the beginning and a learning tool of what not to do in the future. Success may not show up the way you planned, but it will show up sooner or later. When you do fail and you see that you have, in fact, survived, it will only propel you forward all the more. If everyone who ever succeeded at anything stopped trying after the first few rounds, then we would not have half the achievements and blessing we have in life now. If at first you don't succeed. There is an old saying that if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Courage is the willingness to try things over and over again until you find the right formula for success. And, the right formula for success is to keep going no matter how many times you get knocked down until you figure out what does, indeed, work. Courage is the willingness to try and try again. Courage shows up differently. Sometimes, courage is not what you think it is either. Sometimes courage is asking for help. Many of us have trouble asking for help, but real courage shows up when you swallow your pride and ask for help. More often than not, it takes a whole lot more courage to ask for help than it does to go it alone. The absence of fear. Courage also does not mean in any way, shape or form that there is an absence of fear in you as you face something you would rather not have to face. It means that you turn and face your fear and act in spite of it. Courage does not mean the absence of fear, however, it does mean to confront it. When you face something you are afraid of, then that only guarantees you future success when it comes to facing something else. You will look over your shoulder and see that you were afraid, but you took action and faced your fear anyways. Face your weaknesses to find your strength. What is the fight or flight syndrome? When our brain interprets a situation and tells us that we are in danger and we have two choices, either to stand and fight or to flee from danger, that is known as the fight or flight syndrome. What does this have to do with our weaknesses? Well, when we take a good hard look at weaknesses, we may see fear underlying many of them. On many occasions, that fear is what makes us flee and opt for the flight syndrome. However, there are ways we can overcome fear and even turn our weaknesses into our biggest strengths. Overcoming fear. Sometimes the only way to overcome a fear is to face it head-on. However, this can be daunting and even frightening at first. However, if you take small steps in the beginning, see, and recognize your small successes, chances are you will go on to bigger and better things. Overcoming fear is one way to face your weaknesses to find your strength. Take inventory. If you have areas, like we all do, that you would like to improve upon, then you should definitely take inventory of where you feel you are lacking and what your strengths are, as well. For example, if you are weak in networking and social gatherings, you may want to look at some videos, take a class or attend a seminar on the subject. You do not need to spend countless hours on therapy in order to identify your weaknesses. You just need to look within and find the answers that you know are already there. Once you have identified your weak areas, now it is time to take action. Take action. Another great way to face your weaknesses to find your strength is to take action. Taking action means that you take those areas that you have identified and taken action in each one of them. Now, you don't have to take action in all areas at the same time, as that may be too much at once. Start with one small area, and when you have finished working on that area, move on to another area. Let's say, for example, you are weak in public speaking. Take a class, watch a video, read a book, talk to a professional, and you will see that you will begin to feel more empowered right away. After all, knowledge is power, and when you take action you give yourself the ability to minimize your weaknesses and enhance your power. Take an inside-out view. Sometimes your strongest suits are the ones where your weakest areas live. For example, if you always disliked the fact that you were quiet, shy, and withdrawn, perhaps you have a creative side that simply needs an outlet. If you look at your weak sides and find a way to turn them inside out and turn them into your strong suits, you will find success was there all along.